Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Now we are talking HR, and every single week we love to have a representative of the Human Resources Management Association of Barbados coming in to take a look at workers generally. Today we're going more specific on transformation and change management, the fundamentals of HR through change. Joining us is Glenda Gilkes, who is a transformation and change management specialist. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
And welcome back.
Thank you. Happy Independence.
Happy Independence.
Thank
I see
you.
you're channeling your colors as well.
I'm trying.
Yes, we are definitely a very patriotic people, so
Yes.
it's wonderful to see Barbadians out in their colors all throughout the week leading up to.
I'm trying every day this week. I'm trying for one color.
Beautiful. Now, before we delve into today's discussion, for those people who might not be sure, tell me what is the role of a transformation and change management specialist?
Okay, so change is small. It's a temporary fix. You want to change something in the department or product. It's a temporary measure. It's smaller. Transformation as it sounds, is huge. It encompasses a very intense movement, change in an organization, transformation. So you see that with mergers and acquisitions where there are big things happening. So change is small and much more temporary. Transformation is major.
All right,
Okay.
Let's talk now about how human resources management change is kind of working out in the advent of artificial intelligence.
Oh, yes.
So maybe these small changes that are becoming transformational based on artificial intelligence
Yes.
and the way that we collect, process, and share data.
Great. So, of course, AI is the latest buzzword. I've been in HR for a very long time, and I've heard different words over different times. So AI is the new buzzword, and really and truly is a complement to the HR function. I don't think that it's anything to be feared, but really is a tool to help you to generate data, for example. Data helps you to determine how you plan for the organization. So your manpower planning, looking at skills you need and so on. AI can help you with that. But there's always the human element in human resources. There's always people at the center of HR, and of course HR cuts across the organization. HR does not just reside in an office with two people, but every leader, every supervisor, every manager is responsible for human resource management. I think as we just came off a very successful conference and speaking about AI and technology. But it was interesting to note that even with that and the replacement of people in some jobs, there's still the need for human beings. And the things that we do, the basic things that we do, recruitment, training, retooling, those are still critical elements, even when you do a transformation and a change. If you're transforming an organization, it means you may need new skills, new people to do things, new jobs. So that recruitment is still needed, training is still needed. So in everything, people are still at the center, and we as leaders and supervisors have to be cognizant of that.
It's still needed, but the question is to what extent? Because even as we talk about the recruitment, for example, we know that there are many organizations now who go to the algorithms, who go to the programs and the AI that can immediately disqualify certain candidates based on a specific rubric or very specific things that they have written in to determine who will make that short list.
Yes.
So what changes will HR professionals have to make to ensure that they stay ahead of what's happening with AI and with these new systems that are coming on stream, so that even though people are involved, they might not be involved at the level and in the same kinds of ways that they have been in the past?
Yes. So of course, for example, with recruiting, you do need that shortlisting We did that before. We shortlisted people before. We didn't have the algorithms, but we knew based on this job specification and job description who we wanted to hire for the position. So that has now become a more technologically driven initiative, but at the same time, there's that skill that the AI doesn't have, so that soft skill where I can lean into you and speak to specific issues. You may share something that happened at your last job, and I can probe and I can ask questions that AI I can't. So that is still a critical element, because you don't want to disqualify a person simply because AI says this person is not suitable, because there's always more to the story. And you can probe and you can ask those questions relevant to the individual.
I think on the other side of that, that can be argued, because what we know about AI is that it is constantly developing, and there are many people who see the capabilities far beyond what we can see now in terms of AI, even taking on a mind of its own, so to speak, to be able to speak to very specific things. But again,
Yes.
the human element, as you mentioned, would have to be behind that, because minds will be driving it.
Yes.
Let's come home to Barbados. There are a lot of people who, and I know through your conference as well, who are thinking that a change towards AI might not be as swift as we might think, because of the limitations of SMEs, to be able to kind of lay out the amount of money they would need to bring some of these systems on stream. But from your perspective, what are your thoughts in terms of maybe displacement of employees across sectors when it comes to companies who are able to institute AI systems in a country like Barbados? What could be the possible displacement for HR departments, for staff complements, and workers generally?
I think this is where we need to look at the future. What is required, what skills are needed, because you will need someone to maintain the AI, computer techs, persons who are skilled in those particular areas. You will need those skills. So how do we train people up, retool them with the opportunity to embrace this new technology? It's not the enemy. Sometimes we're resistant to what we don't know. But if we can look at the future, what is it that we need to drive our departments and to work with our organizations and to help our organizations to be successful, then we can tailor our training programs and development programs. And those persons who may be displaced from this role can be placed in other roles and with the necessary skills.
Do you have any idea what is in place now? Because where we are now, I think, is a direct result of what was planned maybe 10, 15 years ago. So by extension, where we are in 10 to 15 years will be as a direct result of what we do now. How we're able to set up these training sessions, working with organizations like the University of the West Indies or Barbados Community College. So is there engagement with professionals like yourself who work in human resources for us to be able to develop educational and training programs that reflect what will be needed in future?
Yes, I think training has taken on a new persona, if I may say. So we are ensuring that our employees are geared up. And places like the University of the West Indies, we have NTI, we have Coursera, we have those initiatives where people can now go online, even access those courses, sometimes free of cost. It's at your fingertips. I think with technology, because it is there, you have the ability to research and to understand what is coming. And we have so many stories of persons who are using AI in a negative way as well. But you have to be cognizant of the benefits of AI and how it can be managed within the HR context. So people will always be there. I understand the need for the AI, but at the same time, people will always be there. And therefore, your managers, your leaders, your supervisors must be in tune with your employees and what is required.
How do we pony up the responsibility. I know you mentioned NTI. Thousands of courses
Yes.
literally are at our fingertips, but there's not every employee who has that initiative, who will take that initiative to get online and kind of adapt. So what role does the employer have in, maybe pushing or urging their employees to level up, facilitating that retraining or retooling? And what percentage, if we can, does the employee have to ensure that they're really ready for new times?
I think it's 50-50. You must want to be in the know. You can't bury your head in the sand and think, okay, this is what I did 20 years ago, it's going to work for me now. You're forced into it. Every day. I just came back from overseas and I went to a restaurant, and I think the only human being I interacted with was someone in the back who was sending the food out. But I did my order by machine, I paid by machine, and the food came out by machine. So whether or not we want to accept it, change is here, change is constant, and we have to keep abreast of it. Organizations have a responsibility to keep their staff trained up as well. So you can invite people to come in, talk to your team members, give them some time, some incentive also for pursuing some of those programs. Make it part of their objectives for the year, for example, because that's the only way we can get people to prepare for what is to come or what is already here, and show them the benefits of AI as we know it.
What will happen to those companies that don't level up, that kind of stay stuck in their ways as we move forward, to your mind?
They be left behind. And so we have to be cognizant that if we don't move, then we will be moved. And therefore, every business, whether it be a small business, a large enterprise, must be aware of what is happening out there and adapt. Be prepared to adapt, to change the way. This is where change management specialists come in, helping the organization to identify the areas that they can improve on. Every company wants to succeed and wants to be profitable. And therefore, if you want that, you have to be able to move towards providing skills and opportunities for your employees that they too can be successful, and in turn your organization will be successful.
All right. Well, you know what they say about change?
Constant.
It's the only constant.
Constant.
I want to thank you so much for coming in. Glenda Gilkes is a transformation and change management specialist. Today we took a look at how human resources management change has to change in line with what's happening with artificial intelligence and technology generally. Thanks again for sharing with us.
Thank you so much, and happy independence once again.
Thank you.
Thank
Happy
you.
independence indeed.
Morning, morning, morning.